I don't think we're going to get back to that. I don't think even this movie is going to bring us back to that, because
the culture that...
What does any of that have to do with the movie or the themes or the point of it? Like, she's like, come on, they're all completely missing the mark, even though they're like decently aware of what the mark is supposed to be, and then afterwards being like, you know, what this movie really says to me, what Don't Look Up, at the end of the day when I finished it, you know, that those harrowing scenes and the final moments of the film, what I really thought of is how there's not any more asteroid movies anymore. All right. By the way, Kyle, also great animator, makes cool things. This is one of the new rooms. This one is based on Tim Pool. This is the Tim Pool room going into 2022. It is editable, so we can find out what Tim Pool doesn't understand for whatever reason and put that at the bottom. In this one, it says, "Don't Look Up, Netflix film mocks everyone." Well, let's wait. This one might be a good static one to find out.
Yeah. I want to talk about Don't Look Up. Spoiler alert, everybody. I watched Don't Look Up. It is a film on Netflix. It's the most popular. It is hilarious. It is fairly leftist. But the way they make fun of the government, the way they make fun of the FBI, the way they make fun of the media, it's really good. It's really good. I obviously, there's like annoying leftist things in there. The way they depict Trump support.
Adam McKay is the one who made Don't Look Up, and it's the #1 movie in, I think, Netflix internationally right now. So maybe Adam McKay figured out how to make something that had messaging that is very strongly in that we have to do something immediately about climate change and capitalism will not save us. That's the theme of the film. Maybe he found out a way to just, I don't know, pill all the normies with that one. If you know, Tim Pool is willing to be like, it's leftist, sure, but it's also awesome and really funny.
Reporters is being really stupid. So dumb, they refuse to look at the sky, which is really dumb. That's the name of the movie, by the way. So again, spoiler alert. Now that I've sufficiently warned you about the spoilers, the point of the movie is that there's like conservatives who are too stupid to look at the sky to see that an asteroid is heading their way, or at least a certain part of the movie. And I'm like, okay, that's really stupid.
Yeah, but what if they're...
No. Oh, of course, Tim Pool. Okay, so the film, and this is not going to have any spoilers in it, is that there's a meteor that's about to hit Earth. The scientists are not only capable of telling you when it's going to arrive, what it's going to do, so they have all the information, and they have an utmost certainty at around 98.6% that this is exactly what's going to happen. Based on the speed, trajectory, size, this thing is going to hit our planet in like 6 months, down to the day, and once it does, it'll end all life on Earth. So we have to do something about it. And then it begins the struggle of them telling people in power, telling people about this, and being pushed back against corporate interests in the form of big tech giants who are like, well, yeah, the meteor is coming to Earth and it's going to kill us all, but at the same time, it's got all these precious, delicious resources, so why don't we extract the resources for our use? And let's not blow it up, let's not push it out of its way, let's just blow it into little pieces and let those hit Earth, and then it'll cause little damage, but we'll have trillions of dollars worth of very important minerals that we need to make all our devices. And the funny thing is, it divided critics. It really polarized critics. Some critics hated it, some critics loved it. But climate scientists, I have seen so much feedback from them specifically being like, this is what the last like 30 years of my life have felt like.
Sorry. Maybe they're not wrong. But it's not.
There are people drinking Kool-Aid.
But the movie's actually really good. So
I feel a little bit that way. Sorry, but I do. Anyways,
however, I look at this film.
You never reminded me that I was wearing the hat as a nod, and then you let me keep it on for the whole.
There was a lot of beanie cohesion.
Yeah, I know, but I was doing it as like a cute little nod, and then like you let me.
No, it's great. I loved it.
Okay, well that's fine. Sorry, I've got to get back to myself for a second. But yes,
if you pay attention to the news and you watch this movie, Don't Look Up. It doesn't matter if you're a liberal, post-liberal, conservative. You're gonna watch this and be like, man, these Democrat individuals, these activists are extremely oblivious to what's going on. It is, in fact, right now, in many ways, the right who are saying, look at these problems and wake up, and the left who are too stupid to look up.
No, they're literally looking down. They're literally looking into their masks. They're looking into their masks. I mean, it's not even.
Does he know it's about climate change? Did he miss that part? Does he just literally think it's about people looking up at a meteor? It's overwhelmingly the Republican Party that either does not believe in climate change, downplays climate change, or knows that climate change is happening, and it's just like, yeah, we're in kind of the mitigation phase where we're going to keep doing what we do, and a few of us will be able to have these, like, future homes up in the north or something like that.
It's that's what's so amazing. Oh God, it drives
the
me
movie's
nuts
good.
about Hollywood.
I absolutely enjoyed the movie. Did you see the movie?
I haven't seen it
Okay,
yet.
you have to see the
'cause
movie.
I need a
But
minute more.
the interpretations of Hillary Clinton.
I have a friend of
someone,
mine is actually in the movie, so I've got to.
Okay, you have to see it. But
Yeah,
again,
I
the
know.
interpretations of Hillary Clinton, of an individual that talks like Bill Gates, of the FBI was right on point.
I
This
saw
is why
that.
I
I
really,
saw
really
that.
enjoyed the movie personally myself. Obviously, every movie has propaganda behind it. The people who made
but
this
why-
movie.
why-
but
wait,
hold
wait,
on,
wait, why
really
we have to
quickly.
accept that?
But the
Okay,
people
go
who
ahead,
made
go
this
ahead.
movie said that it was, about global warming. But if you leave it up to your interpretations, you could interpret it in many different ways. It could be interpreted
well,
as
true.
COVID. It could be interpreted as energy policy. I just left it as an asteroid because I think that
I was joking. I was joking. You know what? I was capable of loving this film. All I had to do was turn my brain off for about 2 hours, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to think of this very heavy-handed metaphor. It was so heavy-handed. That was probably my only complaint about the movie. That it's really like, hey, by the way, this is climate change. Just so you know, this is not about a meteor. This is about climate change. Holy fuck.
is what the movie was about, and I love the kind of criticisms of
be
our
fair,
current
actually,
society. And it was
weirdly-
kind of like, and it was kind of like
and-
Idiocracy, where it pointed a lot of our ignorance right.
Oh shit, Caleb's coming after me. Remember when right-wingers were insistently poverty wasn't real food and food stamps were not needed? Now people like the Serfs TV are pushing that. If you actually want to fight for low-income families that might have to regulate their refrigerator, you are an evil Nazmul. What are you talking about? Where does this come from? I watched some of this and I had to laugh at the parents who want servers, shop for them, let their kids get food out of the fridge whenever they want. My kids can get food whenever they want and I don't have servants. I shop at Aldi like every other Western dad. Oh, so clearly someone was watching my stream and laughed and then tweeted at Caleb. And then Caleb has taken this and now is suddenly like, Caleb, you are the master of straw men. You are the king of straw men. No one I know has better straw men than you and more numerous, where it's just like you have like straw people, like entire armies, legions of straw, like generational legacies of straw within straw. And we are mighty and there's so many fucking just endless cycles, like generational straw men here. Insisting that poverty wasn't real and food stamps were not needed. People are pushing that. If you actually want to fight for low-income families that might have to regulate the refrigerator, you are an asshole. No, I'm laughing at you. I'm laughing at all the straw men. It has nothing to do with this. Again, why would you add this? Yeah, it's a straw vanguard. It absolutely is a straw vanguard.
At us, and it was
Yeah.
great.
And the movie heavily criticizes the media for being flippant and self-interested.
I thought that
and
was
the
weird.
the show in question that they go on. So these two scientists are like, we're going to go on national television to announce a comet will destroy the Earth, and it's called the Daily Rip. And on the table,
Holy shit. Man, my one segment today really pissed him off. I can't think of any human being who's more utterly garbage than the Serfs TV. What, am I now the king of BreadTube? Have I ascended? He does nothing but lie about people, distort their arguments, and cyberbullying, defense of lame CNN liberal politics. Like, okay, could someone just send that clip that I made today where I was like, CNN is so goddamn scuffed. Everyone hates them. No one watches them. Like, I literally said that today on stream. I don't think he has any original content. I have an entire channel, youtube.com/theserfstv, all original content. I make documentaries, sketches, comedy, music videos, music too. Probably not even really a leftist. Well, this one, I mean, how will I ever prove that to you, Caleb? You've already said that I'm not a leftist, that I'm a synthetic leftist. Man, why are they all so thin-skinned? I did like one small segment on them today, on the layout of that. Man, big mad.
the glass that says "Rip" is reflecting.
I am the head of the CIA, I guess. I mean, you should be thanking me. His channel has blown up since me, Thought Slime, all the rest of the synthetic left started making videos on him. Back then, it was like, I don't know, didn't he have like 10,000 subs? He's got like 18,000 now. All the people who hate us are now fans. Yeah, we're part of the, what he calls them, the synthetic leftist.
And it says "Lib." Like,
oh my!
The
How
president
funny.
is Hillary Clinton. It's very obviously Hillary Clinton. They show.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm the head of the BreadTube elite. The only person It's not fucking reached 100,000 subs on YouTube. Part of the bourgeois, if you will, the bread to bourgeoisie.
They do this on purpose. It zooms in and shows her hugging Bill Clinton. Like
Oh my gosh.
they did not need that scene. They're telling you it's Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
That's amazing.
And then that voice of that big
Yeah, but
tech entrepreneur.
don't you
I mean,
think
that
that-
is exactly.
don't you
He
think
wore
that-
the sweater vest too,
Yeah, but they've
and was
been-
literally talking like Bill Gates, and he was making evil decisions that ruined. and
So just so you know, the characters they're saying are just like, well, this one was Hillary Clinton. They're all amalgamations, the whole thing. Like the tech guru in the movie is a mix of Zuckerberg. He's a mix of Jack Dorsey. He's a mix of Elon Musk. Like you can see different versions of all those people in one character. That's kind of the whole point.
and
planet.
destroy the world.
Yeah, it's
Remember
Steve
how
Jobs.
Hollywood
Steve
works,
Jobs is
though.
in there too.
They'll throw them out. They'll throw them out because they know they're already thrown out. It's okay. They'll make memes of them. They'll toss them out because where they're going to run Hillary Clinton again? It's not going to happen. So we're in the AOC level. We're in a place where they can do that. I'm not saying that like exactly. I'm just sort of doing my weird projection on Hollywood. But yeah, okay. They wouldn't have done that 3 years ago. They wouldn't have done that 5 years ago. I guarantee you, they wouldn't have done it 5 years ago.
And then I would say Leonardo DiCaprio was kind of like a Dr. Fauci, and then he gets corrupted and starts banging the
TV shows.
the lady that's on the TV
And shilling
who's
for the
totally
big tech
soulless.
company.
Yeah,
Shilling for big tech.
Yeah, the people on media are all taking Xanax. They're all popped up on pills. They're all alcoholics, which is true. I've been saying that on this show. I'm like, hey, I met and I partied with some of the White House press corps. All of them are alcoholics, drug abusers,
Whoa, dude,
and
dude.
What's wild about this is the parts, like, this is basically confirmation bias in action. Every part of the movie that they liked because it was a critique of something they don't like, they're like, oh, this was clearly on point. This one's really, really good. But I don't know, the whole thing being a metaphor for climate change, I just stopped thinking about that, and I just thought of it as a metaphor, or just as a meteor, as a literal meteor. And then I started to like it. Then I thought, oh, then it was a pretty based movie, you know?
When I worked at Vice, and this is true for most
That's
newsrooms.
right. You worked at Vice.
There are
I
bottles.
forgot.
There was a Jägermeister dispenser. There are bottle of booze. There's bottles of booze everywhere.
Yeah, but they
It
just
is-
want to
it is
project
known.
having a good time. They're just,
No.
they're alcoholics.
Journalists are alcoholics.
It's really bad.
Yep.
Hey,
In
can I
all
ask
these
you a question?
newsrooms, there is booze everywhere.
I never knew this. Sorry. Can I take a little tiny side road? Are you still friends with Gavin? I don't know.
I've never been friends with Gavin.
Oh.
Yeah, I've met
He's a
him one
very
time.
good friend of mine. He's
Yeah.
always been extremely kind to me. But,
I met him one
but don't
time
you
when he
remember
licked
when
the guy's
Vice
face,
was-
and that was it.
I was there when he licked that guy's face. I remember getting it on
amazing.
video, and I'm like, this is weird.
What is
Like,
happening?
this
But
is not like, what the hell's going on
you guys,
here?
Like, not to like age myself or whatever, but like, Vice was like a really big deal when we were growing up. Like, it was a thing that had a chance to have actually been something really important. Anyway, I know
It
that's
was
not what we're
important
talking
for a
about.
time.
Look,
Let's admit it.
let's get off.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But-
I had to ask. I've never actually been able to ask you that before.
This is a really good point in the context of the film, to be completely honest. I think we've made our points about the movie, but the movie is meant to be this critique. It's meant to mock the media and talk about
Right.
the view. I think it's obvious Leonardo DiCaprio is a big climate change activist, and this is how they kind of view it. But what's interesting, just to now segue kind of into like what happened to Vice, is that Vice was supposed to challenge
Right.
a lot of the corruption that they're complaining about. And then Vice decided to just jump on in.
Exactly. You know what?
When-
That's what's so disappointing.
When
And
you
I mean,
watch
when
this
you
film-
grow up, it's weird. It's weird growing up with that. Okay, because like I don't want to sound dumb, but like you can't help it. Where you're like, oh, even my thing was corrupt. You're like, oh, even the thing I thought was actually cool was corrupt. Like everybody's got to go through that, I guess. But I didn't realize that it would happen to all of us.
When you have the movie makes a
Wow, the growth, I guess. Vice is now owned by Disney in its entirety. Also, Body Armor, Team with LARP in the Office, Last Make Company. We're seeing so many Program machines. Why do you think people turn to drugs and alcohol, Tim Pool? Often it's systemic issues that people feel trapped in or abuse from their childhood. Yeah, that can be a lot of the reasons why. A form of escapism as well.
A lot of funny points about a media that's disinterested. Mm-hmm. It's really funny. There's a scene where they're like, what's the actress's name? Jennifer Lawrence. She's like, we're all gonna die, and then they're like, whoa, calm down.
That scene's great. That scene's great.
But it's inauthentic. That's what I mean. It's inauthentic. and they criticize it. You bring up Vice, which is interesting. We can definitely segue into that.
No, because
Vice
that's what it is.
Vice was authentic.
Yeah.
That Vice was originally criticized because it was a regular dude going to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And these journalists
Yeah.
were like, you can't just put on a safari hat and point at poop. And they're like,
26%.
Yes, you can.
Okay, so they
It's-
don't own
it's your
Vice
bar
fully yet.
buddy saying, let me tell you a story and you trust us. Now
Exactly.
Vice is just corporate shillmongering.
One of the things that was really interesting about that movie was how Leo was kind of captivated and manipulated by the corporate media, and how he was playing along after his sidekick was, of course, kicked off. He was making a lot of media appearances. He loved the image of himself. He saw his ego
think
grow.
that's quite
and I'm like,
realistic.
that's literally freaking Dr. Fauci right there.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
my perspective, how I saw it. But again, Bill Gates blew up the world. Spoiler alert. And that's awesome.
Hold on.
So it's neat though. It's basically they're projecting all the things that they don't like onto each one of the characters in order to fully enjoy the film, and that's what allowed them to like this movie so much. So in their case, it's not like, well, I didn't want to think about climate change, and I didn't want to think about how, again, there's like a 97% consensus amongst scientists in a variety of fields. Like for the amount of like how broadly and how many different fields that encompass the amount of different scientists who agree that there's like, you know, a 97% that man-made anthropomorphic climate change is what is causing the change. Like our additional CO2 output is what is affecting the climate, is what is changing everything. You don't see that kind of a broad scientific consensus in other categories like that to this scale very often. That's why it's like it's utterly ridiculous for someone to stand back and then be like, well, yeah, but you know, 3% don't. 3% don't. So I mean, I just don't think we're 100% on this yet. The science isn't conclusive. But then to take all this and be like, well, I don't want to think about that. The metaphor for a meteor, it's just a literal meteor, and then we'll have some fun with it. Then I can laugh at the Bill Gates character that I think is the Bill Gates character, and I can laugh at this one too. It's projection.
The comet was already coming.
Yes.
The tech billionaire just wanted to make profit and sacrificed the planet.
He stopped them from blowing up the comet because they wanted to mine it for raw Earth minerals, so his corporation could make more money.
I mean,
that could probably really happen.
Okay, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Is that
Does any of that like resonate with you? Doesn't that kind of like, we know right now what we need to do to stop the Earth from warming. We know what we could do, and we have the means to do it as well. We're just not doing that because it's not in the interest of capital, especially the biggest, largest corporations that make the most money from this. And the fact that we all utilize these resources, like we consume energy. We as a planet, we as humanity, we consume energy, and we get that energy from a variety of ways. There is more sustainable ways of producing and creating energy on this planet that does not produce the same kind of carbon output. But we don't do that for a variety of reasons. And a lot of it has to do with the profit motive under capitalism. That's again, the metaphors were very heavy-handed for these reasons in this movie. Sorry,
is that's where we are.
Yeah.
It's that we could literally have something as easily identifiable as an existential threat than a comet coming at the entire world. And if we ask ourselves what would actually happen, it would be who could make the most money, who could gain the most out of the propaganda,
Absolutely.
who could do all this, and that's actually where we live, and that's I gotta say that's not entirely wrong.
Yeah, and
Like,
some people would argue that this is exactly what happened with this sickness that's
Yes,
been around
well,
for a while.
well,
That
it's
people are.
they keep going back to it, and that's why the entire thing was only about wearing masks and lockdown measures and the vaccine. And like she was just describing pretty decently. I was like, how this is affecting the real world in terms of climate. Oh, Bill Gates is on a shirt. Well, no wonder. The real Island Boys. Oh my God.
Are exploiting
but that's
It's like
tragedy.
the point
But that's
just
what
went
government
like
has been
this.
doing for a very
they
long time.
created that. That's-
Whenever there's tragedy, they exploit it for their own personal benefit,
we haven't
and they have their
had
corporations
guys.
come in.
You guys got to realize. Remember, we haven't actually had a tragedy. We haven't had a non-man-made tragedy in a very long time. Okay. Like that's the thing, is that like the asteroid has always been this. I remember in the 90s where there was like this string of asteroid movies that were very, very fun,
Yes,
right? Like
yes,
we
I
not
remember
say,
those.
like,
Was it Deep
like
Impact?
and then
Yep.
not just
Armageddon.
that, but like remember there is, and this was something I was actually really weirdly fond of when I was a kid, like these sort of end of the earth.
Well, the reason I'm not immediately jumping on that is I'm assuming she means that these tragedies, because she sounds like the one who believes the most in climate change, at least from what I've seen so far, but it sounds like you know, the tornadoes becoming exacerbated, the heat waves, all these giant tragedies, you could imply that they are not man-made and that they're created by humans, but they're exacerbated by our actions. Maybe that's what she's saying. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure.
Movies.
Earthquakes would be a better example. Yeah,
extremely fun to watch. Like even like I like the dumbest ones. I liked like 2012 and like Independence Day. I think weren't all they made by the same
Armageddon.
director? I mean, it was Independence Day.
They all had the same plot.
2020, and there was the freezing one. There was the earthquake one. There was yes, of course, they all had the same plot, but there was something. Like, okay, we also had hit the sort of higher, we'd hit at that time period, the higher level of, what's it called? Graphic design, what am I trying to say?
CGI?
Yeah, CGI. CGI had sort of hit its mark right before, like, you know, you really went nuts with it. But like where we're at now, where you've got like, Star Wars 10 or whatever. Like there was this period of time where people were actually
the good old
awed
days
by movies again, and it was this. There was this one period of like sort of disaster movies that and I even at that age I really didn't like sort of big dumb movies. Like I did, but I didn't. But I was like very like I was in my little art phase, like right, like I was like hanging out at the art theater, and I was like But I'd always go to those movies, and there's something about it. There was something really pleasing about it. I don't think we're going to get back to that. I don't think even this movie is going to bring us back to that, because
the culture that
what does any of that have to do with the movie or the themes or the point of it? Like, she's like, they're all completely missing the mark, even though they're like decently aware of what the mark is supposed to be. And then afterwards being like, you know, what this movie really says to me, what Don't Look Up at the end of the day, when I finished it, you know, that those harrowing scenes and the final moments of the film, what I really thought of is, how there's not any more asteroid movies anymore. And there used to be a lot, and we were wowed by movies back then, you know. We're not really wowed by them anymore. I just like, when I saw Dune in theaters, I just kind of like, I was like, yeah, what? Sounds, light? It didn't really do anything for me. But like back in the day, like 2012, like, oh, that was a disaster film, you know? Armageddon, oh, that's when the stakes were so deep. Impact, you know? Like, oh, Morgan Freeman was the president. I really thought I was going to die when I watched Independence Day. They blew up the goddamn White House, you know? They blew up the fucking White House. What do we have now? You know, what do we have to look forward to?
That's
nostalgia about imagined past as a core tenet of conservatism. True. Very good point. And hey, there's nothing wrong with nostalgia just in and of itself. Like if you're just like, oh yeah, you know, like I really miss, you know, back in the day, I used to love Dave Chappelle. I used to think Dave Chappelle's comedy was amazing. And now Dave Chappelle's newer specials kind of just make me sad and long for the old days. You know, just nothing wrong with saying that. But that's very different than being like, all of society should revert to how things were in the 1990s. All of it. That's right. Because things were better back then.
World we're in is not the same.
And there's two distinct worlds.
Right.
And they don't want to come
and
together.
They don't want
to
they don't even want to be on the same spaceship. Here's the thing. The spaceship, I'm
Dante's Peak, that's the volcano one, right? No, Dante's Inferno is just the Divine Comedy. Dante's Peak is the old one. Who was in that movie? Man, see, nostalgia. You're playing with my nostalgia. Pierce Brosnan, right? Isn't Pierce Brosnan? Or am I confusing that one with another one? Yeah, it is Pierce Brosnan, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I got to it before the chat caught up with my 30 seconds. Volcano was the good one. Pierce Brosnan, Linda Hamilton. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one, right? Except for like the one death scene, which is kind of, I just remember it being, spoilers for like a movie from the 1980s, mute me for 2 seconds, like 10-second stops if you don't want to learn about Dante's Peak. But like the old lady dies in like this acid water to pull the boat or something, or was the grandma or the grandpa, and they're all like, oh no, don't do it. And then she's like, I have to do it to save all of you, and like walks into the acidic water and kills herself. And then like you're just like, there were so many other things we could have done there. Like we could have just taken off like one shirt and used that to like, it was very close as well. We were like almost right at the edge, but we decided to, yeah, that was pretty cringy. Outside of that one cringy scene though, it was still pretty rocking. You know what? I mean, the 90s did have a lot of disasters films. Twister was in there as well. There's a lot of good disaster movies back in the day. But like, I don't think, you know, any of you understand that was not the point in making this. This film was not made to reignite our love for old design. Like, movies go through cycles. I hope they also are aware of that. You know, there's a reason why we don't have an overabundance of Western films as blockbusters, but that used to be the only films that were blockbusters. We go in cycles, and that evolves over time. That's true. That's my privilege, Punch Drunk. I've never had to travel an acid rain link. Hey, what up, No Rain?
Right
I'm gonna go check out No Rain's
the
channel.
Spaceship that like, let's say saves the whole America. We don't even want to be on the same spaceship. We don't even want to be on the same spaceship.
The reality is that's the exception on the right and the rule on the left. The exception on the right is that people on the right consistently try to have debates and conversations, and the left just says no, haha, and laughs and says stupid things.
That is so untrue, honestly. Like, and maybe it's the fact that he's lumping the left, but I'd say the overwhelming amount of people, and even in the online sphere, the online debate bros, those aren't conservatives. Like, every single person on the left is like frothing at the mouth for opportunities to do this. Like, every single one of them is like, please debate me, bro, debate me. I want you to debate me. Everyone wants you to debate me. And fair enough, you might make the argument that a lot of those people are liberals, but still, it's not a problem between, like, well, the right just wants to have conversations, doesn't block anyone else. Like, I mean, look at Jordan Peterson, the person who completely backed out of a debate with Richard Wolff for reasons. Oh, he became famous, and then was like, oh, I don't want to risk all this newfound fame.
And I don't want to be on that spaceship. I'm sorry, I refuse.
But I will say too, look, the right.
Oh yeah, Vosh has been on the show twice. What is it? Sam Cedar has debated Tim Pool as well.
Right,
you know?
The right has their negative element for sure.
Hey, what up, Mark Monkey? Good to see you. Go check out Mark Monkey's channel too.
You know, acting in bad faith and trolling, they exist on all sides. But the left, it's the rule. Like when you have very high profile progressive leftists who are unwilling to actually have conversations, they will say things publicly like, I'll come on your show, Tim. And I'm like, awesome. I really appreciate it. We'll fly you out first class. And then they go, haha, just kidding.
Wait,
or they go.
No, that's not what happened. Okay, first off, he never responded to me, but I understand. I'm crumb tube. All right. I'm a small little jabroni. I get it. But everyone accepted that offer. It was like Hassan Piker was like, yes. Sam Cedar was like, yes. And then immediately he's like, oh, well, you got to fly into the studio in person. And then both of them were like, what, in the height of Delta and COVID right now? No, I'll jump on your stream right now. I know you have the technology to do it because you just did this like thing with Ben Shapiro live on your show. So you clearly can host other people. But he's like, no, in person or nothing. You have to be in the base. You know, you have to be standing in the compound itself. That's the only way it works.
They go privately and say
first class, like from if I just picked a different city.
Just a different city. No, so like I'm just trying to kind of accentuate the point that we've had many high-profile left-wing personalities smack talking, and I'm like, yo, you're always welcome.
No,
to
they'll
come
be
on the
terrible.
Show.
They'll be terrible.
But
no,
they'll say yes publicly, and then privately say, haha.
Yeah, I feel like there's context missing,
and they think that's some kind of a win.
And then they'll get all of their followers or whatever to start pushing the lie that we wouldn't let them come on because they've got to keep their people in the matrix. Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast.
Oh, that's when you cut it out? You were just about to go on a rant. I felt something was about to happen there, you know? Some extreme, like, and that's why, blank. The blankety blank blank. Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form. Available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Just, we beseech thee to smite down our enemies. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your humble court jesters, here to amuse you. To our lords, Trevor R., we give thanks for this spit of land for us to eke out this meager existence. To our knights, Merid, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Ellie Leslie, Alex P., Brandon, Words Greenwood, Nate, that one guy, Hagbird Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Daniel Sutton, Coulter Smith, Val 9000, Jenna Tall, Quiet 185, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, The Tim Caucus, Multimondi, Trevor Yanis, Lemmy 101, Anthropophojak, Saren 42, Catherine, Radical Maniac, Ramon Acosta, Nkosin, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Political Puppy, Andreas Chiringuito, Zach Christensen, Josh Mickelson, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We raise our flag and a veil, and we salute you, our friends.